Introducing Support Series 3, Verb Tenses in English, Video 1, Present Simple Tense, and how and why to use it. In this video, we're going to discuss the present simple tense and how and why to use it. Please note that just watching these videos won't get you to improve upon your verb tenses. You'll actually need to be practicing this actively, but these videos will help you get through some theoretical background on verb tenses specifically to help you get started and to point you in the right direction. Alright, so here are some questions that my clients often ask at the beginning of training services. So for example, how do you say that something is generally true or factual? Or that something happens more frequently over time? So what about timetables? How do we refer to those? Do we use will? What do we do about that? So I'm going to answer these questions in this video, but stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to then explain the ins and outs of that. So again, this video focuses on the present simple, and in part 1 we're going to focus on the use of present simple using auxiliary be, so a helping verb, and then in part 2 we're going to zoom in on other verbs using the present simple, and in the final part of this video I'm going to explain when to use this verb tense. Let's go. So the objective of this video is to refresh your memory when it comes to the use of the present simple. Here we go. Part 1. The basics. A focus on form, the use of auxiliary be in the present simple tense for positive, negative statements and questions. Positive statements and contracted forms, so shorter forms. I am, I'm. You are, you're. He is, he's. She is, she's. It is, it's. We are, we're. They are, they're. Some examples using the present simple and specifically using auxiliary be. She's absent today. He's present. They are here too. Negative statements and contracted forms. I am not. I'm not. You are not. You aren't. He is not. He isn't. She is not. She isn't. It is not. It isn't. We are not. We aren't. They are not. They aren't. Examples of the present simple and negative statements using auxiliary be. I'm not into that. It isn't usually done this way. We aren't able to do that now. The present simple, focus on form, questions. Closed questions using auxiliary be. Am I? Are you? Is he? Is she? Is it? Are we? Are they? Alright, so please note that closed questions are just questions that require a yes or no answer. Moving on to open questions, we use the same structure as in the previous ones, but here we place a question word in front of it. So where, what, why, who, when, and how. So like I mentioned at the start of this video, you will need to practice this to be able to start mastering it. So take a course with us, or let us develop a tailor-made language and communication course for you. Alright, so let's move on to the next part of this video. So what about other verbs? Part 2. The basics. A focus on form, other verbs using the present simple in positive statements, negative statements, and questions. Positive statements and contracted forms. The present simple using other verbs, like typing. I type, you type, he types, she types, it types, we type, and they type. Please note that there's an S attached to the base of the verb when it comes to the he, she, and it pronouns. Another verb, auxiliary have. I have, you have, he has, she has, it has, we have, they have. What do you notice when you look at the he, she, and it pronouns? Verb go. I go, you go, he goes, she goes, it goes, we go, and they go. Alright, so in the first verb that we covered, we saw that there was an S attached to the base of the verbs when it came to he, she, and it. In the other three, we saw that those verbs were modified differently. That is because these are irregular ones. So know that there are quite a few irregular verbs in English, so I would definitely recommend having a look at the irregular verbs table to be able to know how exactly to modify these verbs well. Alright, verb do. I do, you do, he does, she does, it does, we do, and they do. Some examples in positive statements using other verbs than be. He goes to the gym regularly. She does much for others. You help others recover faster. Focus on form, negative statements, and contracted forms. The present simple, negatives using other verbs. I do not type. I don't type. You do not type. You don't type. He does not type. He doesn't type. She does not type. She doesn't type. It does not type. It doesn't type. We do not type. We don't type. They do not type. They don't type. So here are some examples using the present simple and negative statements using other verbs. Well, I don't usually engage in such activities, so it doesn't usually involve all that. So we won't be entering into that again. The present simple focus on form, questions using other verbs than be. So here are some closed questions. Do I eat it regularly? Do you eat it regularly? Does he, she, or it eat it regularly? Do we eat it regularly? Do they eat it regularly? Moving on to open questions using other verbs. Note that again, the question words are placed in front of the sentences that we've just covered. So where, what, why, who, when, and how. Part 2. The basics. A focus on form, other verbs using the present simple in positive statements, negative statements, and questions. Part 2. The basics. A focus on form, other verbs using the present simple in positive statements, negative statements, and questions. We use the simple tense when something in the present is always true, like 12 and 12 makes 24. To indicate that a situation in the present involves a permanent situation. For example, I'm a student or I'm a business owner. To discuss short actions now. He takes the ball and scores a goal. Moreover, we use the present simple to indicate, for example, that we have habits when we engage in social talk, for example. So an example of that would be, well, she goes to yoga class every Friday. So we use this with time markers like twice a week, on Mondays, and regularly. We also use the present simple to indicate future timetables. So for example, our train leaves in an hour. We use that with afternoon and today. Next, we use the present simple when we talk about future timetables. For example, our train leaves in an hour. When discussing future timetables, we use time indicators like this afternoon and today. And finally, we use the present simple to indicate the future in time clauses. For example, he'll probably be late because he won't go out until it stops raining. So we use time indicators like when, as soon as long as, after, and before. So in this video, we focused on the form of the present simple tense as well as the usage. And please note that skills cannot be acquired passively, so just watching a video won't do very much. Up next, more videos on verb tenses, a focus on form again and their usage. So new videos will be published shortly. So if you'd like to learn how to start using them well, and if you'd like to practice them, take a course with us or let us just develop a tailor-made training service for you to make sure that you won't waste any time and money in the long run. Well, that concludes our video, but we'd love to hear from you too. So please comment below and share your experiences. If this video was useful for you, please like it and subscribe to my channel.